No chance, no help, no escape. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm coming at you for another one of my famed movie/Blu-ray reviews. Today I will be reviewing the movie and Blu-ray of Without Warning. As always, first I'll be reviewing the movie, then I'll be reviewing this Blu-ray that was recently released by Kino Lorber. So my history with this movie doesn't go very far back at all, pretty much just to the spring of this year, 2020, basically when I found out that Kino Lorber was going to be putting this out on a new Blu-ray release. It's piqued my interest like frickin' 1980, just low budget, like sci-fi/horror movie. I was all over that idea, and I think someone had put this out on Blu-ray prior. I don't know if that Blu-ray is still available or not, but I think Kino Lorber's release was, yeah, it says brand new 2K master, so regardless of the other Blu-ray release, this one is supposed to be like technically a better one. So I was definitely interested in this movie once I found out about the, at the time, upcoming Kino Lorber Blu-ray release. So when I did find out about that upcoming Blu-ray release that has now since come out, I actually was kind of like, well, do I want to blind buy this? Probably not. Let's look on YouTube just to see if by chance it's on there, and some kind soul had probably ripped the first Blu-ray and put, this movie on YouTube for everyone, including me, to enjoy. So I was able to see it on YouTube, obviously, for free, and decide whether or not I wanted to buy this when the Blu-ray came out. And honestly, when I first watched it, I was like, I don't think I necessarily need to buy this on Blu-ray. But I think at some point, some of these Kino Lorber releases, especially if they're like an older movie or something, some of them, I don't know, some of them you can get like, I don't know if they do a sale on Amazon or whatever, but some of them you can get like I did with Career Opportunities and The Public Eye, and I think this one as well. I think it was like for $12 or $13, but maybe it was some brief sale or price reduction or something. So once the price of it came down to that or whatever, somewhere around there, I was like, you know what? It's 1980. It's freaking Jack Palance and Martin Landau, and Cameron Mitchell, Neville Brand, and that one other guy from Alpha Incident. What the hell's his name? Gosh dang it, I forgot his name right now. But that guy's also at the bar and the bar scene. Poor guy, post-stroke, I guess. He was also, this is like a few years after Bill Rebane's Alpha Incident. He was Ralph Meeker. There you go. Ralph Meeker is also at the bar and the bar scene, and with Neville Brand, and has a few lines or maybe one line or something. Poor guy is just like in movies. But I actually loved his performance in Alpha Incident, but that's another story, another review. So when the Blu-ray became available at a decent price, I'm like, you know what, 1980, all those stars, really kind of cool. Dean Cunday was the director of photography, really cool lighting, hokey ass Kevin Peter Hall alien story. And it is funny how this movie is almost like it's basically Predator in more low budget form. The movie that would go on to come out by the name of Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. This movie is, after a fashion, kind of a Predator movie that you can almost see like they ripped off this movie to make Predator, honestly. And it's so crazy that just like with Predator, Kevin Peter Hall is the alien in this movie as well. Honestly, the cover art, the original poster art for this movie really looks like it's up my alley, like young kids, a van out in the wilderness, or out in the woods, or out in the whatever boondocks. And I was like, oh wow, how come I never heard of this? And then when I watched it, I realized, oh, it's not like your typical slasher movie. It's kind of slasher movie meets alien movie from the 50s, because it's it's got all the elements of like an early 80s slasher movie, with just the nubile young women, and just the kids go out to where they you've got Jack Palance saying, don't go out there, you can't go out around them parts. And there's a lot of things that very similar to Tourist Trap as well. Jack Palance almost kind of like the Chuck Connors character from Tourist Trap. And it's just, I love all these movies that were made around the same time that are all basically the same. But I do find it interesting that it's kind of like a pre-Predator with Kevin Peter Hall as the alien, and then he'd go on to be the alien in actual Predator, which is insane. But for those of you who aren't familiar with this movie, it's basically an alien story. I mean, there's not, I don't think we don't get any freaking backstory or anything about the alien, which I'm absolutely fine with. I like it that way. But the opening scene, this movie is right up my alley because it's mostly outdoors and in the boondocks and stuff. And even the one scene that takes place at that bar is quaint because it's like this, late 70s, early 80s bar with these characters like, frickin' Ralph Meeker and Neville Brand and Jack Palance and Martin Landau all in the same scene. It's just really, really fun, not to mention the younger characters and stuff. So the story, before I do the main story of this movie, the opening scene is the scene with Cameron Mitchell. I guess him and his son in this camper, this RV, just out in this wilderness area by the stream, and Cameron Mitchell plays just your typical male American hunter guy who's just kind of trying to, basically talk his son, who doesn't really show any interest in hunting, to be a man, pick up a gun, and hunt and kill something. So the Cameron Mitchell stuff is just at the beginning of the movie, but it's always fun to see Cameron Mitchell in these just low-budget Z-grade frickin' movies. It should be said that by this time, Dean Cundey was, he had done Halloween, and I don't know if he's, this is the same year, I don't know if he'd already done The Fog or whatever, but by this time, he was kind of, I think, more of an established director of photography, but I think in the interviews or commentary or something, it was revealed that Dean Cundey did this movie even though it was a little more lower budget than he was used to after Halloween. He did this movie or something as a favor. I don't know is it this movie or is it another movie? I can't remember. There's so many freaking movies. It's possible it's this movie that he just knew the guy or something and did him a favor by taking this really, really, really low budget movie after he'd already been more or less established. If it's not this movie, he did it later on. I don't freaking know. So don't hold me to it that it's this movie, but it very well might be this movie. But the movie, I just, once the price came down on the Blu-ray, I just had to go for it, and I don't regret it. I've seen it like a couple times since I bought it, and it's a really fun. So it's a really fun. I can do this. It's a really fun movie from 1980 if you like this kind of just stalk and slash, or in this case alien and slash and kill in the boondocks, in the woods, kind of scantily clad women. I don't think there's any, I can't remember, I don't think there's any tits in this movie, but there's women in bathing suits, so you can't go wrong with that. But the opening scene with Cameron Mitchell and his son, who he wants to have be a hunter, ends funny with basically the alien's gimmick in this movie is he throws these alien organic kind of flying glowy alien discs things that will go and just like land on a person, and they'll affix, they'll all kinds of tentacles will stab into their body, and on the underside of this organic alien glowing frisbee disc, there's these teeth that are like, so I guess the teeth, they just suck. I don't know if they suck the blood out or, just chew them all to hell or whatever, but that's a really cool, actually, gimmick for this really low-budget alien movie, alien stalk and slash in the woods. They just throw these glowy, freaking organic alien discs with little teeth and stuff on them, and they do the killing for the alien. Incidentally, the alien is so boring in this movie, and it's really funny that they got Kevin Peter Hall, because obviously they got him because he was tall. But they don't really put him next to anything to even show that he's tall. So it's really, really stupid to like get a tall guy and not really put it to good use. Like they should have put him next to something where you could tell, like in Predator, you can tell he's freaking tall because he's like dwarfs Arnold Schwarzenegger. But in this movie, they hire this tall guy to be the alien, but they never really show him in relation to anything that the height of, so you don't really know how tall he is. Kind of a oversight, in my opinion, in this movie, but one of many, perhaps. So at the beginning, Cameron Mitchell and his son obviously get offed by these alien, organic, glowing, flying discs. We don't see them glow during the day. We don't see them glow until it's nighttime and they're flying around. But that's the big Cameron Mitchell scene in this movie. And then we introduce our basically, two couples. Two of them are well-established couples. The one guy who would go on to be in some popular TV show. It's the same guy from First Blood who is the guy who's like opposed to hunting Rambo. I think it's that guy. I want to say he'd go on to be a pretty big star on TV, I think. And the girl who plays his girlfriend, well, both the women are cute and hot in this movie, but the girl who plays his girlfriend is hot, and I wish she would have lived longer, but she's not in the movie for very long. And then they're kind of making a double date with this guy, and this girl's kind of setting them up or whatever. And the girl, the main blonde girl in this movie, is really cute and really looks good in a two-piece bathing suit. And the guy's just your, classic, typical late 70s, early 80s guy, and he's got a great look. So the characters, the two main characters, the guy and the girl, are, they're fun to watch and they're agreeable to watch, and I enjoy them as the main characters. You've also got Jack Palance as the kind of guy who's like just, he's pretty much the guy, as I already said, the Chuck Connors character from Tourist Trap, if you've seen that in a lot of ways. And they get some gas at his place, and he just acts all creepy, like, is he the killer? Where are you guys going to the lake? Oh, you guys don't want to go up there. And I just love these movies, so many movies from this era that just do the same thing over and over and over. It's so ridiculous cliche, but I just love it. I eat it up. Martin Landau plays this goofy ex-army guy or whatever, ex-military guy who just constantly, he seems like he's off his rocker or whatever. I can't even remember what ends up happening with them. But honestly, those two, you might not think like Jack Palance and Martin Landau would be in this movie very much, kind of like the character of, what's his name I just said? Cameron Mitchell. I mean, he does more what you'd expect in this low-budget movie. He's just in one scene and he's gone. But Jack Palance and Martin Landau do keep on, they show up relatively early on and do keep on coming back and have relatively big parts in this movie, so that's fun. I'm not necessarily a fan of either of the two actors. I have fun with, I grew up with Jack Palance, obviously, in so many movies and Batman '89 and stuff, but I'm not as familiar with Martin Landau. But I mean, they're both fun in their own right, and Palance is definitely a little more fun to watch, and not that Landau is not in this movie, but I just love both of their characters are just kind of off the wall and kind of goofy and stuff. But obviously the four kids end up going to the lake, and we don't even see the guy and the girl die, but they end up, the two that are main characters, the guy and girl that are set up on the blind date, and they end up coming across their friends in a shed with some other, basically the alien is hanging. I don't know if the alien built this shed or where this shed came from, but the alien's just using this shed to hang the corpses of its kill. I mean, see, it's just like it is very loosely like Predator would go on to be. It's like, I don't know if these human corpses are the trophy, wink wink, for this Kevin Peter Hall alien or what's going on. But the alien takes all of its corpses that it killed and is collecting them in the shed. And there's also this goofy ass just filler random scene where this older guy is taking these Cub Scouts on a thing. It's just clearly filler. I want to say that that guy's funny and trying to just be by the Cub Scout book and stuff, and that guy ends up getting killed, I think. I can't remember if I imagine I don't know if the Cub Scouts, I don't think they see him die, but they see the alien and they run away, and so that Cub Scout guy is in the shed as well, I want to say, possibly. And the corpses are fun that they find in the shed. I think that hot chick is topless, but you don't get to see her tits, so it's kind of a bummer. But yeah, so once they come across the alien's freaking trophy shed, it's like, oh no, and this and that, and they end up getting help, and they end up they end up driving away in the van, and one of them, this is when I don't know if we see that, I don't know, at some point at night we finally see that they glow or whatever, but this is one of them organic, glowing frisbee chompers gets affixed onto the windshield, and for a while it's trying to, get into the windshield, and they brilliantly use the windshield wiper to wipe it off, and they're like, they're so excited when that worked, and then they end up getting help at the bar, and that's where they come across, the big, huge Ralph Meeker scene, and which isn't very big at all, and what's his name, Neville Brand has a little more dialogue in that scene, but the bar scene's kind of cool. The electricity ends up going out, and they put on, frickin' little lamp, kerosene lamps and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, the movie is very, you know, even for me, it's relatively slow. So if you're not into slow movies, you're probably not going to be into this movie. But I do think it does have this 1980 charm of, you know, late 70s, early 80s low budget movie, and because it's Dean Cundey, it's lit competently and really well and stuff. So it's, yeah, honestly, the more I watch it, the more I do enjoy it for what it is. I didn't really think that much of it when I first saw it, but it's one of those movies that, you know, if you like that 1980s charm, you really owe it to yourself to check it out. Hopefully it's still free on YouTube for you to watch if you don't want to spend any money to blind buy it, which is understandable in these times. But yeah, you know, I guess that's pretty much it without spoiling the movie. That's the gist of it, and it's just the movie becomes about this guy and girl on this blind date that is trying to survive the night. And don't get me wrong, it's not like some kind of amazing accomplishment of a movie. It's more or less a hack kind of a movie, but it's, you know, there's definitely worse hack kind of movies. Like, to give you an example, like Drive-In Massacre is a very, very, very hack kind of a movie, and same with like Don't Go in the Woods and stuff. So this movie isn't quite the hack factor of those two movies, so it's a little more competent. I mean, it plays like a really, really low budget, boring, just, you know, made for TV 70s movie or something like that. It doesn't really play like a movie that was, you know, just made for and distributed in the theater, to give you an idea of what this movie's like. I do want to say the very end involves Jack Palance, well, without spoiling too much of it, I'll just say, like, battling the alien, and there's this one part where he set up dynamite near the alien's corpse shed, and the alien is standing by the shed, and then like push the plunger and nothing happens. And I think at that point, you know, Jack Palance wants to keep the alien next to the shed while the blonde does the plunger, and Jack Palance, I can't even imagine like being him and having to say this line, but the Jack Palance line of all lines is like, if you could get him to sign an autograph back when he was still around. This is just genius. He just like in a fit of rage is like, as he's running towards the alien, goes, "Alien!" and kind of runs towards him, and, you know, bear hugs him to like keep him by the alien's corpse shed. So I mean, that's what I mean. Like this movie is just you know, it's just Z-grade fun. The character that Martin Landau plays is fun because he's supposed to be this out of it, you know, vet, you know, from the military and stuff. And Jack Palance is kind of goofy, even though we don't really know why. So my star rating for this movie would probably be 2 1/4 stars out of 4 stars. Let's go to 2.5 stars out of 4 stars, because its quaintness factor can't be overlooked. But at the same time, it's not that exciting of a movie. Like when you think of Alien movie Kevin Peter Hall, you tend to think more of something a little more action-packed than this. And it's, you know, this is a low-budget movie. You have to go into it knowing that. Once you do that, it's fine or whatever. It's got a lot of quaint late 70s, early 80s stuff. The van is just beyond classic 70s van, and, you know, just Martin Landau's character, and even just the characters at the bar. I mean, just it's a movie that's not going to really blow your socks off, but if you can enjoy it for the quaintness of it and the cuteness of the female characters, and the quaintness of the van, the quaintness of the effects, and the little organic frisbee sucker things, and if you can enjoy it for those little things it has to offer, and goofy Martin Landau and Jack Palance, you'll like it just for, I guess, what it is. So that does it for my movie review portion of this review. Now on to my review of the recently released Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. As I said earlier, as you can see here, brand new 2K master for this release. Special features, as you can see, includes audio commentary by producer-director Graydon Clark, Greg and Sandy's Alien Adventure interviews with actors, you can read those actors there, Independence Day interview with cinematographer Dean Cundey. Yeah, maybe that's the interview where he says he did this movie as a favor for a friend. Could be, maybe not, don't hold me to that. Producers versus Aliens interview with co-writer, co-producer Daniel, I swear these last names, you can read it there, Hunter's Blood interview with special effects makeup creator Greg Canum. Okay, Trailers from Hell with Mike Mendes, newly commissioned art by Vince Evans, and theatrical trailer. I would imagine this has other theatrical trailers from other releases available on Kino Lorber Blu-rays, but I can't confirm that. Having not grown up with this movie or anything like that, I don't really have anything to compare the new 2K transfer to, but I can confirm that it is a glorious, beautiful 2K transfer from a film released in 1980. This is basically the best case scenario for me. I'm a huge fan of movies shot on film, in particular 70s and early 80s films. So to get a new 2K scan of a movie like this, a low-budget Z-grade movie, is a real treat. I can, basically say, for anyone wondering, that the transfer on this Blu-ray release is amazing. Obviously, I can't really compare it to the first Blu-ray release, as I don't have it. I would imagine that's what I saw on YouTube, but obviously with compression issues of, YouTube and compression factors and this and that, I can't remember. I probably didn't really see an accurate depiction of that original Blu-ray or whatever, but this Blu-ray I can definitely say looks very, very well. And like I say, I just love movies from this era, so when they get new, 4K, or in this case 2K, new scans, I really appreciate it. So I can't really overstate how beautiful this does look. I can't imagine it necessarily looking any better, of course, unless someone did a 4K UHD release or whatever. But for what this is, and being a new 2K scan, this looks really good. Don't remember any issues with the audio. Obviously, this would probably be just a mono movie coming out, being a Z-grade movie coming out in 1980. I don't remember hearing any issues with the sound, so we're good on that front, or at least from what I heard. Not sure how long they're going to be shipping with slipcovers, but I did end up getting a slipcover with the newly commissioned art, as you can see here. Newly commissioned art is actually pretty cool. Gives you a good idea of what the alien looks like, a more traditional alien in this movie versus Predator. I definitely like how the alien looks in Predator as opposed to this movie, but this is very much a cliched alien appearance, as I said, something from the 50s or 60s Star Trek TV shows. But obviously this newly commissioned cover art is really heavily showing the Jack Palance and Martin Landau participation in this film. As you can see, the main character chick with her braided hair, or whatever the hell you call it, is really cute. Here's a tagline there. It preys on human fear. It feeds on human flesh. Removing the slipcover here reveals the newly commissioned cover art, and luckily, as is so often with a release like this, you've got the option for this newly commissioned cover art, or this cover art, which one would assume is the original theatrical poster art from 1980. Definitely much bigger of a fan of this artwork than the other artwork, although the other artwork is completely confident. I generally prefer original theatrical artwork more often times than not. We've got a silhouette of the alien here, which is really cool, but I love the painting inside the alien's body of the woods, and you can actually, I didn't notice it until just now, but you can see the alien corpse shed there with a light inside. But here you've got the young kids, the two couples here, just writhing in horror. We've got the approximation of a kind of a van there with a broken windshield, just standing there in the woods, just hands up, screaming at the top of their lungs, without warning, the alien terror is here on Earth. And taking a look at the disc itself, just your standard Kino Lorber Studio Classics artwork without warning. Guess that pretty much does it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, we'll catch you on the next video. Definitely much bigger of a fan of this artwork than the other artwork, although the other artwork is completely confident. I generally...